Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about forms of government. Forms of government refers to who has power in a country. The form of government the United States has is called a representative democracy. The first three forms of government we'll discuss are autocracies, oligarchies, and democracies. After that, we'll discuss communism and socialism. An easy way to help you remember the different forms of government is by noticing that one person rules in an autocracy, several people rule in an oligarchy, and all the people rule in a democracy. Okay, let's talk about autocracies. One person rules in an autocracy, and there are two types. The first type of autocracy is called a monarchy. A monarchy is ruled by a king or a queen. The king or queen inherits their power by birth. That is, the power is handed down from family member to family member. The second type of autocracy is a dictatorship. Dictators usually get their power through force and violence. The next form of government is an oligarchy. Several people, or a small group of people, have power in an oligarchy. The small groups usually have a specific purpose like religion or economics. The last form of government we'll be talking about is a democracy. All the people rule in a democracy. It's known as rule by the people. The first type of democracy is called a direct democracy. In a direct democracy, people vote directly on the laws that they'd like to see passed. The second type of democracy is a representative democracy. The United States has a representative democracy, and it's also known as a republic. In a republic, the people vote to elect other people to go and make the laws for them, rather than voting directly on the laws. Let's stop and take a look at the differences between a direct democracy and a representative democracy because it's very important to understand. Both are ruled by the people. The difference is in what people vote for. In a direct democracy, people vote directly on the laws. In a representative democracy, people vote on other people to go and make the laws for them. In other words, they vote on people to represent them in government, which is why it's called a representative democracy. So to determine whether a government is direct or representative, you have to ask yourself, are people voting on the laws or electing people to make the laws for them? To summarize, we've discussed three forms of government. An autocracy is where one person has the power, an oligarchy is where a few people have the power, and a democracy is where all the people have the power. Remember, the United States has a representative democracy, also known as a republic. Now let's talk about communism and socialism. Both are essentially economic philosophies advocating public rather than private ownership, especially the means of production, distribution, and exchange of goods. Let's talk about communism first. Under communism, there is no such thing as private property. I want to repeat that. There is no such thing as private property. That means a person can't own their own house, car, or business. Instead, the government owns everything. Communistic governments have a strong central government that controls all aspects of economic production and provides citizens with their basic necessities like food, housing, medical care, and education. The slogan of communism is, "Workers of the world unite," because in theory, the workers would take over to ensure equality for everyone. But what normally happens is an authoritarian government takes over and oppresses the workers. Now let's talk about socialism. Socialism is very similar to communism, however, in a socialistic government, the people can own private property. With that said, the chief means of generating wealth is communally owned and managed by a democratically elected government. That's another difference. While communistic governments are generally run by authoritarian governments, socialistic governments are usually democratically elected. To summarize, and the key point to understand here is that in communism, the government essentially owns everything, and the people are not allowed to own any private property. Socialism is similar, but the people can own some property. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.